Right, hi everybody. I'm here together with Richard Fennell, one of the organizers for Global DevOps Bootcamp. In previous vlogs, I already interviewed the founding fathers, so to say, Rene, Marcel, and Matthias for Global DevOps Bootcamp. And I want to get some more experiences around the world of our organizers. And Richard was so kind to join me in a quick chat. Talk about his experiences, because he has been organizing a local venue for Global DevOps Bootcamp for the last 3 editions, I think. So I wanted to see what Richard's experience is in there. Maybe he can talk about a little bit about how we're doing the organization from your end of the screen, so to say. And we'll see how we go from there. So Richard, can you introduce yourself for a short, in a short way?
Yeah, certainly. My name's Richard Fennell. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Black Marble. We're a Microsoft Gold partner based in the north of England. I'm also a Microsoft MVP for developer tools, and I've been working around the TFS Azure DevOps space for, well, since the product came out.
Yeah, since it wasn't named Azure DevOps at all.
Yeah, it's been through every Team System.
Yeah,
back in the days of Team System.
Visual Studio Online.
Yeah.
Came after that. Yeah. All right. So, what's your first connection with Global DevOps Bootcamp? How did you hear about it?
I first heard about the Global DevOps Bootcamp when a sort of an email shot came round from the sort of core organisers looking for volunteers to run venues in the first year. And it was something that I've always been very keen to get involved with, community events. And I'm lucky that at Black Marble we've got some space and the willingness from other members of staff here to help make things happen. So we were really keen to get involved and get an event running here for north of England. So yeah, it's we started right at the start.
Yeah, cool. And apparently something sticked, because you've been organizing them for all those editions since up now, and you're even organizing one in 2020, right?
Yeah, we are. It's been well, multiple reasons for keep doing it. One is, as a local venue organizer, the package that's provided by the core team is second to none. It's remarkably little work for us to actually get anything done. Our problems are in that of logistics, getting attendees, you know, the basic things of running a room. Technically, we don't have issues as long as we can connect to the services. Everything's been flawless every year, and so we run it each year going forwards because it's been a success last year, and equally we get the demand from the attendees. We've actually had attendees who've come to every edition, normally bring in a couple more friends each time, and that's been really interesting. Though a new little change this year is one of our regular attendees has decided to set up their own venue. So so we are growing it in a different way this year. So not so much bringing the same people back, but sending them off, and they're going to do their own venue elsewhere to sort of spread the love in another area of the UK.
I agree with you here. Yeah. Well, that's the organic growth that we really like. And we don't do that much marketing. It's mostly making noise on social media and reaching out at least to the MVP community. And then we just go from there. So it's nice to see that apparently people are enthusiastic enough to start their own venue as well.
Yeah, there certainly are. There's certainly the demand, and because the subjects have been, well, there's been quite a nice logical flow over the years, sort of moving through more, is the word fashionable? Is the word sort of cutting edge discussion points that people have often got issues with at that point in time. So in the first year, we was quite focused on the CI to CD release process, and last year we moved through site reliability, and I look forward to finding out what it's going to be this year. But there's a progression, so there is a sort of a benefit. It's not like people are going, oh, I'm not going to come this year. I came last year, and they're only going to talk about the same sort of things. They're going to talk about something new and something interesting, and probably a fair chance that they haven't come across in their organisation, or if they have, it's been as a, well, here's a dream, but I don't know how to tackle something so big. And it gives them some techniques to move forward into having a look at these things and taking a reasonable sized bite out of project, seeing how something can work within the day, and then hopefully taking some of that home and working out how they can apply it to their ongoing problems.
Now, I've seen the same thing at our own local venue as well. People who are actually discovering CI/CD pipelines at all, let alone monitoring on it, and then taking that away, taking things away for their daytime job as well. Usually they're very enthusiastic and they want to implement something like that as well as soon as possible.
Yeah.
We've even seen attendees that didn't even know that those tools were available and how easy you can work with them as well.
Yes, I think a side point on this is it's shown people how flexible Azure can be, because people have come in thinking, oh, I'm going to be talking about TFS, individual point, or Azure DevOps or whatever, and then they suddenly realise, hold on, I'm just connecting to this from my iPad and remoting in. This is unbelievable. I didn't realise I could do all of those sorts of things. So I think it opens people's eyes to some completely different ways of working, especially in the prototyping and giving things a quick look without having to commit to a whole pile of infrastructure.
Yeah, that is a part of the whole event out of the box and the experience we want to give to the attendees as well.
Yeah.
Here's your working website. We will cause a problem or something. That was the theme for last year. Go fix it and figure out how to do everything. Instead of here's nothing and you need to build up everything yourself. It's a whole different way of looking into those problems as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really key difference with the way these events have been organised compared to other sort of hackathon type things, whereas you're often starting with a very basic level or building something up from virtually nothing. Here, especially last year, you're pretty much starting with something that's finished and then pulling it apart, which is quite an interesting twist on how to run an event.
How did you like last year's content? Instead of giving a step-by-step or organized route to fix the issue, was a little bit more loose, so to say, with just pointers to where to find things, how to fix it initially?
Well, as a local organizer, I think that we had less questions that we needed to go in and help people in sort of a proctor hands-on role last year than we did in previous years. So I think the way of delivering the material last year, where there were a lot of videos and links through and tips and how to get everything done, seemed to unblock people far easier. People need to walk through it in a far more straightforward manner than they did in other years. Now, I don't know whether that's a point to do with the subject matter, but I think it is predominantly due to the way the content was structured. And the problems we were helping people with were either the most trivial sort of, I can't get my connection onto the local Wi-Fi, which obviously you can do nothing about, or they were ones where people wanted to sit down and have a chat about concepts far more, rather than could you come and help me do this, because you provided the material to get them through all of those various steps. So it meant the conversations were often a lot more, people would break away from the sessions and wander off and have a chat about something to do with the content matter, which was really interesting, which is an interesting twist around the edge. It's almost like the best bit of any conference is the chat in the corridor. It's not the session you've gone to, and maybe starting to move in that direction here, but people were really keen to go and try things. And it did cause a good deal of competitiveness between the teams at our location, let alone looking out to see what was happening in the rest of the world. Our first team wants to beat our second teams all the time. They're always constantly having a quick look. Yeah.
Even though we make less and less of a point about it, it's not about the competition. It's more about the learning.
Well, yeah, but one of the things we've done every year was that we've when people have arrived, you've often got people who've come who are friends or work for the same company or whatever. We always make an effort to try and break people up into different groups, mostly so that we don't get all the devs sitting in one team and all the testers sitting in another. But we'll also try and get people to split up so they're not working with their colleagues all the time, unless they desperately want to, but most people are normally up for it. And so that always, you get the co-worker competitiveness always kicks in as well. But that's been quite an effective way we've found to get people to chat. And we've seen people back at other events that we've run later in the year that nothing to do with the Global DevOps Bootcamp brand, whether it be other boot camps or just events we run for the community or out. We're often bumping into people and they come back. hopefully it sort of helps to get them thinking and looking to see what else is out there. And the point is they can carry on and work on all of this stuff. If they don't manage to get it done on the day, the stuff's still available for them, which is a really nice touch as well.
Yeah, that's about lighting that spark and triggering people to think differently. Yeah. I'm thinking we had an experience here at a local value as well. Was it the same for you? We had people with all different backgrounds, engineers. We even had Scrum Masters in here, people who came from working with AWS instead of Azure. Did you have the same mixed set of attendees as well?
Yeah, we certainly did. We certainly had a very wide range. Interesting, we had a couple of people who were fairly non-technical project managers who are actually remarkably effective in these sorts of things, because they really do get their teams working quite effectively. But yes, we've certainly seen a lot of cross culture coming in. We've had somebody who was completely unaware of Azure. They'd used other clouds, but they came very much, it was the Azure branding effectively that dragged them in. They wanted to see what Azure was capable of. So yeah, we've seen all sorts of roles and all sorts of level of experience as well. So we've had students coming who little experience of commercial work, as well as people at all levels in sort of commercial organisations. It's been really good for getting a wide variety of people.
Yeah. That's nice. It's different than a almost standard meetup where people really come for the one subject that is there. It's good to see that we have that bigger reach.
Yeah, you seem to have a bigger reach, and also the fact because it's there aren't that many meetups that are the complete day with as much structure. You know, it's like I was at a local event last week. And it was very much the classic sort of, here's an hour of lecture, here's a sort of group activity, but it's filling in a few post-it notes and having a little bit of a discussion. There was no way anything was as ambitious as the Global DevOps Bootcamp being attempted. It was different subject matter, obviously, but you know, it is quite rare that you see this level of delivery, and it's noticeable between the other boot camps that are out there. You know, there's the Azure boot camps, and those they often seem to be far more presentation driven rather than hands-on driven. You know, it's a nice touch having the sort of the celebrity keynote first. You know, sets the tone for the day. The local keynote, which deals with the nuts and bolts and what they're going to expect, and then they're into stuff within an hour and a half. You know, not that long. And that's where the conversations start, which is really nice.
Okay, good to hear. Yeah. So we dive a little bit deeper in your experiences as an organizer. I think you're doing it on your end by yourself.
Well, no. I'm sort of the point here, the sort of the main contact. But we've also got Rick Hepworth, who works here, who's another Microsoft MVP, who quite a few people may know from various conferences. So he sort of helps on the day, and we've got a couple of other people who'll be coming in, a couple of other MVPs who will come in and help with the actual logistics on the day. But the bulk of the stuff to start with, the sort of the pre-event, I tend to deal with most of the admin.
Yeah.
So it's I find it a fairly straightforward process. So, you know, it's quite slick. You know, we've got communication via the Slack channels. You know, as long as I register for the appropriate things, you know, telling you how many teams I need, and we'll deal with whatever's happening for lunch this year. You know, it's the logistics along those lines. You know, making sure I've got a room booked, making sure the security guard knows what's happening, make sure we've got enough tables, all the normal boring logistics of running any event. They're the bulk of the work, because everything else is mostly delivered. You know, at some point, a period before the event, we'll probably go through all of the material, so we've got some familiarity with it. We'll effectively do a little evening hack through it ourselves, so we're not surprised on the day. But you know, from the commitment from our end, it's mostly, as you mentioned, sort of social media advertising and getting some people to sign up and give up their Saturday and come in. That's sort of the key thing for us. It's a straightforward process for us as a venue organizer. Yeah.
So we always try to get a what's it called? A community call in that we at least record and then share what's the goal of the global plan, what's the theme, what you need to provision on your end, if there's anything. Go through the whole agenda as well, and then we can share what our plan is at least. And then you're still free to do something locally and the way it works for you as well. We have the communication with the community call, we have a Slack channel, and I think that's sufficient to get around to doing everything that we need.
Yeah, it's certainly worked well for us, and the way the Slack's structured so that we've got effectively areas that we can chat in and areas that effectively announcement. I think that's really helped to make sure you can see the important stuff. And it's worked well on the day as well, you know, sort of, we've been lucky, we've never had any logistical or connectivity problems on the day, but we've seen that there's always been the sort of core support team sitting there burning the midnight oil for about 36 hours, it feels like, for you to deliver your 24 hours. Just making sure everything flows, you know, you know, for us, it's been nice and straightforward. I can't compliment you all enough on how slick it's been.
Yeah, that's good to hear. That's what we strive for as well.
Yeah.
And I think even on the event day itself, Slack, where organizers found each other and helped each other out if something went wrong, worked really well.
Yeah.
We have a vibrant community around that as well. And that helps because the core team is with around 15 people now.
Yeah.
And we cannot be in the air for 36 hours, it seems. It's a long stretch. So it's really nice to see that organizers are helping each other out there as well. We had, I think, the teams in New Zealand that started actually helped out the teams. I think that started in Europe even.
So that's the beauty of it, because New Zealand will have, well, their day's virtually finished before we've woken up, haven't they? Yeah. So they've seen anything. There's a fair chance they've seen the worst of anything that's likely to have happened.
Yeah.
You know, we always hope there will be nothing, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah, we always
cloud. Something always happens.
Yeah, we always hope when we wake up in our own time zone that the first 9 hours of the event went smoothly.
Yeah,
and then we can have a day of fun as well. All right. Then I think we already covered most of it. Is there anything you want to share with some people who are thinking about organizing a venue?
Yeah, I'd certainly go for it. Is what I'd say. Is, you know, it's not a huge effort for you technically. You don't be worried if you're not completely up to speed with all of the latest material. You're going to learn as well. You know, the key issue for anybody who's going to be running a venue is just sorting out your local logistics, which hopefully you can find a space and local sponsors and all of those sorts of things, just so everything runs smoothly. But it's really just a case of getting people into a room around some tables, and the material just helps you flow straight through into that. And it works really well.
Yeah, good to hear. All right, let's conclude on that high end then.
Okay.
Then we can finish off. All right, thank you so much for your time, Richard.
That's fine. Thank you.
I'll try to get another couple of local organizers in as well and share their story as well.
Okay.
And then they have something to share with their local community again, because without any local communities, we wouldn't have anything to do on Global DevOps Bootcamp. We wouldn't have built out the stuff that we've built out over the years. It's always fun that people are picking it up and to get that great feedback from you as well.
Okay, it's good. Well, it's really good that you're all doing it. So
yeah, it's fun for us as well. We like to break stuff.
Yeah.
This on this scale always breaks something.
Yeah, well, that's true. You know, it's finding the commitment to it. You know, it's not an insignificant commitment to resource to build all of that sort of stuff, though, is it? You know, so it's the companies that are backing the members of staff who are doing it. It's a significant amount of work.
Yeah, and then still most of the time is in our spare time.
Right.
This year we've had a let's sort of call it a hackathon for a day, and where we spent all the team members from Xperit and from Solidify in the same room for the first time in those 3 years. And that was our investment we made to get the theme for this year, at least discussing it. We still haven't finalized it. Hopefully we can share that soon.
Right.
that was the first time in 3 years that we actually were in the same room, meeting with each other and digging into stuff. And the rest is all virtually online in our spare time as well. But it's fun for us. Most of the people who have been working in the background are still with us, still helping with all the infrastructure and all the challenges that we need to provide. So it's fun for us as well, and we learn stuff every year. So that helps.
Good.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Richard.
Okay then. Speak to you at some point.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
And thank you so much for organizing another venue this year.
Okay, it's no problem. Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right.